Alrighty, so we have Brandon Royval versus Alexandre Pantoja. So Royval, he has a 4-inch height advantage and a 2.5-inch reach advantage. He has a pretty good frame for the division. Going to be taller than a lot of flyweights. Going to be longer than a lot of flyweights. So let's see if he can use it. So breaking down the striking of these two. So for Royval, he's a southpaw. He's very unorthodox. He's got a weird rhythm. It'd be very difficult to hold pads for this guy, in my opinion. Uh, yeah, he's very unorthodox with his combinations, what he's about to throw, just his movements, his angles. Interesting to watch. Very unorthodox though. He's in your face. He's constantly pumping the jab out to establish to find that range. He goes for the two, folds it up with a 2-1-2. He's quite unorthodox. Looks to spin a lot. Looks to spin in close range. As we saw in the Kaikara France fight, like he was dropped, I think, and then his instinct when he was rocked was to go for a spinning elbow when Kaikara France was closing distance on him. So yeah, it's just very unorthodox. It caught Kaikara France by surprise, and the Royval basically took over from there. But yeah, he's got really nice straight knees as well. Mixes in straight knees where you're not really expecting him to mix in straight knees. So he'll kind of just, mix them into a combination just randomly throw them. And he's generally facing a much shorter opponent than he is because he's 5'9", and the general flyweight average would be like 5'4", something like that. So, he's able to catch guys with straight knees, to the chin, whereas generally it's not really a feasible technique to throw because he's able to get his knee up to the chin like quite easily. But yeah, so Pantoja, I can definitely see him walking into one of these because he's often rushing into range with his chin in the air. Pantoja likes the blitz 1-2. Most of Pantoja's offense is the 1-2. Like it's a variation of a 1-2. It's going to be either a blitz 1-2, a counter 1-2, just a straight up 1-2. He's quite linear with his attacks. He's going to be attacking in a straight line, and if you are able to angle off out of that, then he's probably going to hit air. Because Pantoja doesn't have, he doesn't really cut angles. He's probably going to hit air if you have good lateral movement. But Royval's probably just going to stand right in front of him and go for a spinning elbow or some shit like that. Pantoja does have a nice counter 2 when the opponent comes rushing in, and that's what he caught Matt Schnell with and ultimately ended the fight with that. And I could absolutely see Royval just walking into one of those overhand rights or those counter 2s. But Pantoja has nice kicks as well, obviously rounding out his game at ATT. But yeah, he has nice body kicks, facing a southpaw, low calf kicks when he's facing an orthodox opponent, but primarily he's a brawler. He likes to get in the pocket and, trade. He's happy to trade in a phone booth, as we saw in the Davis and Figueiredo fight, the Matt Schnell fight. He's quite happy to exchange, and I don't think that's where Royval wants to be, because I think Pantoja has a massive chin advantage and the power advantage as well. So, and I think Royval's probably going to comply with the brawl as well. So, it is what it is. But I don't think that's where he wants to get the fight because, Royval keeps his chin in the air when he's throwing in the pocket and he has his hands low at all times. So he's not very defensively responsible in the pocket. And I think that could be, his demise in this fight, really. So break down the grappling of these two. Both these guys are very good grapplers. Pantoja likes to catch an ankle when the opponent's kicking and just kind of push them over, get them off balance. With Royval, he's very active off his back. He doesn't mind taking, being on his back. He's got a nice triangle off his back. Heel hooks when the opponent's standing up in his guard, just to try and create a scramble. Omoplatas off his back, very active. Most of these techniques are used by Pantoja as well. Both these guys are very good off their back, very active off their back. Pretty much Royval's takedown defense is attacking with submissions. Like he'll use a guillotine trap to defend a double leg, and if you're going to go for a single leg or a body lock, he's going to attack with a Kimura trap, because I think he wants to initiate a scramble, and he just loves a scramble at the end of the day. And, Pantoja loves a scramble as well. Both very good scramblers. But One thing Royval does do is that he does give up his back quite a bit, and it's very dangerous against a guy like Pantoja, who's very good at taking the back and very good at finishing once he does take the back. And he's always looking to take the back, especially in scrambles, like in 50-50 positions. He's looking to get the back body lock and, drag you down from there and take the back and lock in that rear naked choke. I think he has a few rear naked choke finishes for sure on his record. So how these guys win fights. So for Pantoja, he's got an iron chin. He's incredibly hard to finish. Don't think has he ever been finished? Not sure. Don't think so. In 28 fights, I don't think he's been finished. And for Royval, he's got a good frame for the division. He has good volume as well. How these guys lose fights. So for Royval, it's the striking tendencies, the striking defense. Talked about that before. And for Pantoja, he slows down in high-paced fights that involve a lot of grappling. Fights to it though, pretty good at fighting through fatigue, but, he does slow down, it must be said. So, pass to victory for these two. For Pantoja, look for that 2 as he's coming in. We talked about that before. Look for body kicks as well. Leg kicks, but primarily look to take him down. Look for that body lock takedown when he does spin in close range. Like, he will go for that spinning elbow or spinning back fist in close a lot. So, look to take advantage of that. Anticipate what's coming and then go for a level change underneath that, and you should be able to take him down. Look to catch a kick, take him to the ground. When you do have him down, wait for him to give his back in a scramble, or, to get back to his feet, or just, take what he gives you from there. Also, if you're on bottom position for some reason, for whatever reason, look for a leg lock, and then he will turn to give his back. Like, he's done that a few times in his career. I've seen him do that, so, don't really, go hard for the leg lock, but just wait for him to turn and then take the back from there. And for Royval, don't accept bottom position when you do find yourself down there, and be opportunistic with ground and pound in scrambles. So, and I've noticed that's what he does anyway. He's pretty opportunistic with his ground and pound. He looks to, throw a few hammer fists here and there, just in 50-50 positions in scrambles quite a bit. So I think that's good, and it, could potentially win rounds that way. But also that straight knee when he's blitzing in, as we talked about before. So how I see this fight going? Alright, so first off, great fight. Fantastic fight. So on the feet, Royval, he's just a handful. He's an absolute handful. Like, Jesus Christ, he's just constantly throwing just volume. If he's very long for the division, he's throwing unorthodox combinations. I think he's likely going to be throwing a lot more than Pantoja. But, Pantoja does have the power advantage, and I think Pantoja's going to oblige in that firefight. And Pantoja does throw heat. And that counter 2 is going to be his go-to shot in this one. And I think there's a good chance that it does put Royval down once or twice. I'm expecting the striking exchanges to be quite back and forth. Both rocking each other, both stunning each other, both just going absolutely crazy in the pocket. Kind of like the Matt Schnell-Pantoja fight. And yeah, I want to see them scramble on the mat. And I'll probably get my wish here because Royval is going to give Pantoja just so many opportunities to take the fight to the mat. Both are very good. Pantoja has world-class jiu-jitsu, but he just hasn't been going to it a lot lately. Maybe it's because he gasses in high-paced grappling fights. In the Askarov fight, he looked quite visibly fatigued after round 2. But before that fight, he showed fine cardio, even in grappling heavy fights. So I'm not sure if that was just an anomaly, but, he slows a little generally, but never as bad as he did in the Askarov fight. So, yeah, like I said though, he'll be able to get what's his name, Royval down, basically whenever he wants. Like, Royval doesn't defend takedowns in the traditional way. He'll look to be offensive with submissions instead of trying to neutralize the position or anything like that. Like, he'll go for jumping guillotines if they try and double leg him, Kimura traps if the opponent's going for a single leg or a body lock. And I just don't think he's going to be able to catch Pantoja with any of those type of techniques. And I think he's likely going to find himself in bottom position if he does try any of those techniques. And if he is on bottom, Royval does have a super active guard, just like his striking, very just offensively minded and just crazy and unorthodox. He's always trying to throw something up, but Pantoja's approach to these stringy guard players like Matt Schnell and Royval and all that kind of stuff is to take his time, look for his openings, just throw a few straight punches down, when he's standing up in guard. If the opponent's trying to lock up a leg or lock up a arm or something like that, grab the arm, wrist control, he'll look to, throw down a few straight punches, and he does have power, and, these guys aren't very defensively responsible off their back. So he will just be patient on top. He'll look to, wait for them to overcommit to something, and then he'll look to slide into a mount or a side mount, and then he'll go to work from there, just like we saw in the Match Snell fight. And one thing that I feel like is going to cost Royval dearly in this fight is his propensity to just give the back in basically every scramble that he's in. Pantoja is very good at taking the back and maintaining that position, like with a body triangle. So I think that's going to cost him, big time in this fight. But both overall, very good grapplers. I think it's going to be pretty back and forth on the feet. I feel like if Pantoja just doesn't secure like a shit ton of control time with the back mount and the body triangle, then I think it's going to be quite a scramble heavy fight, probably pretty back and forth, unless Pantoja is able to take the back. But I think it's overall going to be quite a competitive fight, honestly. But I'm expecting Pantoja's experience and just having a bit more structure within his game to guide him to victory here. Like, he'll make the right decision after Royval just does something silly, like a rolling thunder or some shit like that, not what he's looking to do, but like a spinning back fist, and then he falls over, pulls guard, and then Pantoja ends up on top at the end of the round or something like that. I'm going to see that happening. Alright, so we'll have a look at the betting lines. Alright, so if you guys could like the video, that'd be awesome. A fair bit of work gets put into these videos, especially these key matchups like this one. Do a bit more research than usual. So yeah, my prediction is Pantoja by submission. I think he finds the neck of Brandon Royval just eventually. I think he's a bit too much of a favourite at the moment, honestly. I think it's going to be quite competitive, just how the fight plays out. I'd be looking to bet Royval like $2.50 or plus 150. If I was to play Pantoja, I like the inside the distance line. I'd like a bit better price, like $3.75, but $3.55 is fine, honestly. I might play that. But yeah, it should just be a fun fight. Unless that inside the distance line improves, I might just stay away, but it should be a fun fight. And yeah, I do have Pantoja winning.